Hello, YouTube. It's me, your favorite attention-seeking geek. Yes, I am playing host to this motley crew, this motley squad, Suicide Squad. We'll mention that about 50 to 58 times tonight. Yes, they are here in all of their glory. He might not look as good in pigtails as Harlequin. It is Andy from Perpetual Comics. Say hello, Andy.
How's it going? It's great to be here. I am really looking forward to the show. We have lots in store, and apparently we've got 48 slides, so strap in, everybody.
It's a massive night. It's going to take at least 5 hours to get through the show, so I hope you're ready. Now, some say that he has the IQ of King Shark. I think that's mean. It's Tom from Not Quite Me. Hello. Thanks, Tom's not had a good day, and here I am.
And now you're insulting my intelligence. Appreciate
Lift his spirits up like a true leader. Speaking of leaders, we are missing a member today, and that is, of course, Charlie, Mr. Geeky Guy Comics himself. Charlie's sorting out some family issues at the moment, so we just want to send him all the love, and I'm sure everyone in the chat will share that sentiment, and hopefully Charlie will be back with us soon. But in the meantime, you've got this guy off the sub bench, and I'm not doing it alone, no, because these two are going to hold my tiny little hand along the way. My hand, don't touch that. Okay, so let's see who has joined us for this weird party. Copy 801, he left that comment at 1:44 p.m. ironically very early, and he didn't show up to my show, so good. And then we got Triple G Comics, who has swung in and swung out. Big shout out to Triple G Comics. I have posted a video today opening up an AOK that I got from the man himself. It's amazing. There's one particular book in there that has blown my mind. So massive thank you to Peter there, and do check that video out, check him out, check us all out in some way, but don't objectify us. We're not objects. The Padawan Collector has come in from outside of his Sith temple. We've got Sean the Noob, we've got A, B, and C, all of those letters, and Leon Russell as well in the chat. So how's your week been, gentlemen?
You start, Tom.
It's been all right. It's just really busy this week. It's phenomenally busy.
Busy. You're a busy man. Tom literally juggles like 3 different lives. Like I struggle to juggle that one ball, which is my life. Dropped it. Tom juggles about 3. So it's completely understandable. Now, we are going to do things slightly differently tonight. We are, guys, we've got to shout out a few latecomers. Dave Collects, yeah. And Fuzzy Dunlop, thank you for joining us, gentlemen. As always, it's our honor to entertain you and you. But what we're going to do tonight is we're going to start with our Thought Bubble feature. And tonight, guys, it's jam-packed. Production value. Thank you so much. So this week we have brought in a guest, and a guest with a difference. So if you've just tuned in, this is the Road to Thought Bubble. So this fabulous panel of gentlemen are going to be heading to the Thought Bubble Comic Festival and Convention over in Harrogate in November. And what we've decided to do as a YouTube channel is feature our kind of journey to Thought Bubble. Every week, we're going to spotlight a certain creator and just have a chat with them, one of the guests that is due to attend the event. What we're also hopefully going to do throughout the coming months is have some people come in who have an insight into what goes on behind the scenes, whether that be kind of organisers or staff. So I am very pleased to introduce a dear friend of mine, a long-term friend of mine, someone that I have been getting drunk with at conventions, responsibly, of course, for many, many years. But he is also a volunteer at the Thought Bubble event, and that is my friend, Alex Barwell. Woo! Well, you can call him Rusty. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you. How are you doing?
I'm all good, thanks. Thanks for having me on, guys. Thanks for you. I'm all good. Week.
So if you've got any questions in the chat for Alex, who is a part of the volunteer team at Thought Bubble, so he basically kind of works as staff at the event. If you've got any questions as to kind of how he got involved with that, or what that entails, then get them down in the comment section below. But I'll tell you what, I'm gonna steal one of the questions first. How long does this go back? Because I remember seeing you at this event probably about 3-4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So when did when were you recruited?
Oh, well, I attended Thought Bubble first time was 2008 as an attendee, and it took me 2 years going as a normal customer before I attended Toy Redshirt and joined the crew, in which I started off as like a queue capper and a flyer handower. I was something like 14, 15 at the time, and I've been doing it ever since then. And I'm now going 28 this year, so yeah, another 13 years.
That's wicked.
Don't rub it in. 28. And I love, can I just say, this whole thing about you guys being red shirts, like it's Butlins or something. That's great.
Oh yeah, we get the red shirt Butlins, the Star Trek beams as well. We're just a nice tip. We're hoping to get Captain Gold at some point.
Nice.
And like in terms of that kind of recruitment process, then, so you basically kind of had to work through different responsibilities until you kind of got to the point that you're at now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so throughout my 10 years of it, I started off as a queue capper, so I was looking after queues of people like Charlie Adler from The Walking Dead, to now currently looking after the panels and running the entire side of it, where it's organising make sure the guests get from their actual desks to the actual show on time and they all run smoothly, and there's no chaos on that part. So yeah, I've done a bit of everything. There's not part of the actual job I haven't done right now. So yeah, bit of an all-rounder.
Guys, let's stir the pot. What's the worst customer you've experienced in the queue situation? You always get them, don't you? You always get one of those guys in the queue. Come on, spill the beans.
Well, I've got two. So I've got the people that confuse me most, and the people that turn up 3 days before the convention that are already sat out there with the chair and the cup of teas, and they'll be prepped, they'll be ready. You'll see them there, they'll be turning up the day before, 24 hours beforehand, setting up outside the door of the hall. And they're so dedicated because of who they're going to see. And every year I walk past the hall and I'm like, you're already here. The staff haven't even turned up. The guests aren't turning up yet. But as for actually bad customers, the ones that don't leave, oh man, the people that don't leave at the end of the convention on a Sunday, you've had all weekend to buy things. And I'm like, I love you all so much, but some want to go to bed, some want to get some rest. We've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning. And I understand. Right, Spider-Man versus Deadpool, or Spider-Man and Carnage. Come on, pick a decision. You've had a weekend. You've got this. Come on, I'm leaving you.
What about guests? What was worst or best guests?
Oh, really stirring the pot now, Tom. I like it.
Okay. What are their names? But I've had one guest who basically went AWOL throughout the entire second day for a while, and this was my first few years of working there. And I was only a 15, 16-year-old lad at the time. And I'm running around a convention playing Where's Bollywood, Where's the Guest Is, and running up to the artist I've never seen before, hi, have you seen XYZ artist? Because I'm kind of looking for him. He's got a queue half a mile long and it's taking up half the aisle.
It wasn't Simon Bisley, was it?
That was one. So, but yeah, we've got some interesting ones. But
hi, Simon. Thanks for watching.
I love Simon Bisley. He's great. I've met him a couple of times at Nice Comic Con, but he is a bit of a wanderer. He's a really nice guy. He likes to have a wander.
I want to give a shout out to some new faces as well in the chat. We've got Ames, and we've got Mindfulness Magpie. Welcome, guys. I'm sure you are
Cool name.
fans of the Rusty. But thank you very much for joining us nonetheless. So in terms of this year then, Alex, what are you most looking forward to? Have you got a guest or is it just kind of seeing people again?
Oh, apart from just seeing everyone again, obviously there's the hesitance with what's going on, but like I just really want to see everyone again. But Scott Snyder's back for me, and Snyder's like a big one for me. It was absolutely hilarious to meet the first time. He's really good at what he does. I've got most of his books now, and I've been following him since I met him. And yeah, I want to get more really badly drawn Batman sketches. I've got one so far off him from when he was a bit drunk, and I want to get another one to complete the collection of like a Robin or something. Just keep pushing it. But yeah, I really can't wait to see him again. But also just generally see the entire thoughtful Red Shirts crew and all that.
So how does it work then? Paint the picture of the Saturday, because I know obviously it's a festival and there's events in the week, but in terms of the actual convention, like Saturday morning, what time do you have to clock in and how does it work? Do you have like a briefing and then you kind of go off and do your own thing? How does it work?
Well, normally we have a pre-meet up for the team on the Friday evening just to get a heads up of who's here, who's actually on attendance, who's actually on site right now, who we got nearby. Generally in the morning, we start about 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, early start. We prep the halls if they're not already set up. Most of the time it is set up the night before, but if there's any little bits we need to do, we'll crack on setting up the tables and getting any of the new stages set up. For instance, one year we had a Wacom stall. We had a Wacom artist demonstrating as well, which was really cool, but we had to set up all his tech on the day, on the morning. But other than that, it's just welcoming all the guests and getting them in first thing. It's literally we get up, make sure the hall's set up, and then it's helping everyone set up their own halls, which is generally where we get to meet people we're going to be working with all weekend. So anyone from indie artist who's setting up their first stall for Thor Bubble to the big names who are setting up all their final prints. Like, it's great. You get to meet the ones you see every year. We get people coming back regularly. So I love to see Abigail J. Harding. Like, she's absolutely phenomenal artist. I love to help her set up. She's a cracky person to meet. Richard Starkins, one I always seem to get a hold of. He always gives me a free jam donut, which is probably why I always go back to it. But, it's like the one thing saying every year a free jam donut. He loves the fact that Greg's give you like, what is it, like £5 or something. He loves them so much.
Alex, you look like you've never had a jam donut in your life.
I have a really important question. That's probably a question that's on the tip of the tongue of all the chat. Is how drunk do all the volunteers get?
So very drunk. Oh my! Yeah. So we have
his boss is watching.
Yeah, no, that's right. They get just as badly. We get this thing called a mid-con party, which is the best and worst thing ever in the sense of it's a Saturday night party, but we're all very aware that we have work Sunday. So we've got the responsible ones who will leave about 8 or 9, and then there's the rest of us who stay till about 4 o'clock in the morning with the rest of the artists and the guests partying around. Oh, it's great. It's great. You get to have some funny times. I mean, who needs sleep? We'll get that later. Like, that's what Sunday nights are for. Like, we'll get to the next day. We'll make it. Like, the best thing is we've got a mutual understanding. When we're walking around the convention and you're looking at a really rough looking artist and they're looking at you like, we saw you last night at 4 o'clock.
We know what you did last night.
Like, yeah, we were there. We saw. Like, I always remember, like, Matt Fraction was my favourite one. I used to bring him black coffee and I used to bring it to him and Kelly Sue. And one time I came up, just surprised him with the coffee, and he just looked at me like, you read my mind, didn't have to say anything. And next thing you know, I've got a signed copy of him saying just thank you. He literally scribbled thank you all over the cover. And I was like, well, I wanted a signature, but you've ruined the entire thing now.
Yeah, I don't know how CGC can verify thank yous. We've got a great question here from the Fuzzy Dunlop, the legend that is Rusty. Are there any guests who have had big-time diva antics where people requesting ridiculous things like pink M&Ms or kittens?
Oh, I've not really had anything such where we had crazy requests as such. We've got a nice bunch of artists calling it, but we do get like, it's just desk space is something that you need to be aware of. Like for first-time congoers, if you're an indie person or a startup, like it's the cloths, your set up table stuff, the little things that you wouldn't think of. They're like gold dust at these conventions. If you can get yourself a nice tablecloth, it's going to disappear if you can't keep an eye on it, man. People need to keep these things like they are the most wanted things of all. Like they'll be like, oh, I've left this here, I've left this somewhere, and they're like, right, we need to find this now. So that's
I
one
lost
thing.
both
You don't really get
my,
any divas.
tablecloths. I've done Nice Comic Con a couple of times, and both times my tablecloths have been pinched.
Yeah, see, like the
I bought them
gold.
as well. Nice black
It's-
tablecloths with my logo on. Somebody's got them somewhere.
It's because Alex is on the side using it to mop up his mouth after having a jam donut.
Yeah.
Tap, 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 tap.
I've done it.
A lot of people excited about certain antics. And Alex, it's got to be said, the Killer Comics crew will be there in force. And
Excellent.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for that Saturday night.
Oh, we get some wild nights. Sometimes we even have the guests do musical performances. Like one year we had Run DMC at DCon, and he performed live at the convention. And I'll never forget the moment we got to see Run DMC perform live. Like that is something I'll never forget. Like that was amazing in the Con Exchange. And then we got other artists that are actually in a band together. You never find these things out until you see them boogieing and playing live at the show after party. It's like, you wait, what?
I'm fully expecting some Thought Bubble karaoke on Saturday night. So that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm just putting that out there, everybody.
I'm down.
It's not been done so far.
do anything for love.
You make a good meatloaf, mate.
Brilliant, good. What, like baking one or shut your face?
Alex,
Alex.
payback for calling me thick.
I had it coming, all in and around my face. Andy, if you want to share our spotlight guest of the week right now using the magic of internet technology. So our spotlight guest of the week is James Tinian the Fourth.
Tinian.
So Andy, why James Tinian the Fourth? Tell us who he is, what he's about. Why?
Why not? This was we done Ram V last week, and this was a lot easier to find out a bit of information about James Tynan. Let's have this discussion now. Tynan, Tinian, James T, Jimmy.
I saw this on a thing the other day, and I just didn't listen.
Ross Ritchie calls him.
But they had the answer.
Ross Ritchie calls him Tinian. Tinian. James Tinian.
Okay, we'll go with Tinian. Okay, I'm sure. I'll let James. I apologise if it's wrong. Okay, when we high five at Thought Bubble in November, you can shout at me then. But yes, James Tinian, born 1987 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Obviously, everybody knows that he's award-winning and a best-selling author, and it's actually quite cool that we picked him for this week because of the amount of news that's been happening over the internet. You see that he's stopping his run on Batman, and he's going to his own create-your-own world, where I think you have to subscribe. I haven't looked so much into it, but you have to subscribe and all that good stuff. And everybody knows James from his current work, which is Something Is Killing the Children, is probably the main book out there that everybody's going absolutely crazy for. And I think that book has effectively given them the opportunity to kind of a walk away from Batman and DC and go do his own thing and make his own money, I guess. So he studied creative writing at the Sarah Lawrence College, and that's where he was studying under Scott Snyder. And then he later became an intern at Vertigo Comics, which is an imprint of DC Comics. His first published work was Batman issue number 8. And then he went on to co-write Batman Annual number 1 with Scott Snyder. And I don't know if any of you guys have read that. That's when he reintroduced Mr. Freeze, which is one of my favourite villains. He's worked in DC, obviously. He's worked in Boom Studios, Marvel, IDW. And this one caught me by surprise when I Googled it and got it, copied and pasted it from Wikipedia. Thrillbent. Has anybody ever heard of that place? Anybody? Yeah, I've never heard of that before. And he runs Tiny Onion Studios. You should definitely go check out his website at Tiny Onion Studios. You get all the sort of lowdown and sign up for his newsletter as well.
I was going to say his newsletter's amazing.
Fantastic. That's where you got all the like up to date news, and you normally find that as soon as he releases that email, you'll get an update from the Key Comic Collector app based on that news that he's just released on that newsletter. So it's definitely worth having a look. So yeah, as I say, some of the books that he's released is obviously Something Is Killing the Children. He's done Batman. He's doing Nice House on the Lake, which is into its third issue, which is a great run at the moment. And he's also done Wind, which is recently been optioned. But I wanted to dig a little bit deeper, guys, and have a look at some of his old stuff, similar to what I've done for Ram V. And should we just pop over to that slide, Benjamin?
Oh, you show us how deep you've gone.
I've went deep into the woods. Did you like that segment there, Ben?
I enjoyed it thoroughly.
So this is 2014, and this is a fantastic book that is really under the radar, and I don't think many people have probably read. The synopsis is there's 437 students, 52 teachers, and 24 additional staff from Bay Point Preparatory High School in Milwaukee, and they've all vanished without a trace. 513 people find themselves in the middle of an ancient primordial wilderness. Where are they? Why are they there? And the answers will prove stranger than anyone could possibly imagine. This story goes deep. The artwork is absolutely superb by Michael Dialanis and James Tynion. It's just superb writing, and it's definitely one to go check out. You guys read? Any of you guys read this at all, Ben? Tom?
No, I've not. No,
Alex?
I know Tom.
No?
Tom's a big fan of the Batman run. But both Tom and I kind of pick that up, don't we, weekly? But yeah, I know I've not read this.
Definitely worthwhile. Definitely worth checking out, guys. It's one of the great stories that he's done back in 2014.
Is this one of his award-winning ones, The Woods?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them are like, because obviously the success that he's having at the minute, all the TV producers are looking back at the other books and seeing the stories that he's done. So it's probably a little bit of a spec book as well. The next book that I have is called The Backstagers, and this is a really cool story. So this was in 2016, and this is art by Rian Singh. And this is so when the character Jory transfers to a private all-boys school, he figures out joining the stage crew would involve a lot of just fetching props and getting splinters. To his surprise, he discovers that there's a door backstage that leads to a different world, and all of the stagehands know about it. All the world's a stage, but what happens behind the curtain is pure magic. So I haven't this one I haven't read, and I only sort of realised that he had done this one when I was doing a little bit of investigating on doing the old Googling. And this is one that I'm definitely going to see if I can pick up because it looks absolutely fantastic. Again, is this one that you guys have heard of? Is this? Am I bringing news to you?
No, this is
all news. But it does. The synopsis sounds very similar to a pornography film that I once.
Wow. Anyway, moving on. You must have heard of this one, guys.
I have heard this one.
Yeah. This particular cover. So this is the graphic novel cover, and this was I think this was maybe the second or third issue of this book, and it goes for absolutely crazy money. This I think it's like a 1 in 25 if I'm not mistaken, and this was nominated for the 2015 GLAAD Awards for most outstanding comic, and this all centered around a meme. So a meme is an idea that starts with an individual and then virally spreads to multiple persons and potentially entire societies. Richard Dawkins suggests a meme's success comes from its effectiveness to be the host, but history shows the destructive memes can spread just as rapidly through society. Memetic shows the progression of a weaponized meme that leads to the utter annihilation of the human race within 72 hours. The root of this apocalypse is a single image on the internet, a meme in the popular sense, a meme that changes everything. Again, this isn't one I've read, but it's definitely going to be one that I pick up as a trade because it just sounds crazy and out there. And
sounds
really
wild.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. Eric Donovan is the artist on this, and I know that looking back on previous work that he's done, he's worked with Eric quite often, especially back in the early days. So yeah, that's Memetic, definitely worth picking up. Tom, what's your favourite Tynion books?
Tynion, I'd probably go with something that's killing the children, mate, to be perfectly honest. I do like it. I do like the early part of his Batman run. I'm not keen on it at the moment. I didn't really enjoy the Joker War. I thought it was a bit meh. But the build up to the Joker War was pretty good.
He's had some great moments, you know, in Batman. I think Batman's such a hard beast to kind of get right, and I honestly think the best Batman stories are ones where everything's stripped away in terms of continuity and stuff. And I'd kind of love to see James Tynion kind of run riot on a Batman story that doesn't have to be set in that kind of wider DC continuity that, you know, the stuff is at the moment. But what I like about his work is it seems ballsy, you know, like he's kind of not afraid to bring in characters like Miracle Molly and Punchline into the Batman mythos. And Something is Killing the Children is, you know, I just think back to when you first experienced some of those pages, you know, with kids being bloody ripped in half and God knows what. Like his work is so bold and so kind of creative, and it, for me, one of the things I love about him is his grasp of speech. I feel like his speech always flows really well. You know, the conversational pieces between characters always seems very kind of fluent and stuff. Alex, how are you feeling about James coming over? Are you excited? Are you looking forward to him as a guest?
Yeah, I've actually got his Batman run myself, actually. I'm kind of looking forward to hopefully get some time to maybe get him signed. But yeah, no, I have to agree. The Joker wasn't too much my cup of tea either towards it. It was kind of all buck and no bang, so I say. Like it just, yeah. I think it's just more the Joker for kid though. We've had a lot of Joker, we've had a lot of it in recent years. So I just think it's just he's got a good story to tell with Joker. It's just poor timing more than anything else for me. Just read something fresher, something a bit different, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I just think I speculate that there were other forces behind decisions where he couldn't commit to things. So certain characters being shot and not killed, for example, you know. I don't know how much of that was him. We've got, is there any other books, Andy, or is that?
That's us, mate. I just picked it through.
No, it's great. And it's nice to hear about these things that, you know, because, yeah, people only sort of know him obviously at the moment for that kind of Batman and that Something is Killing the Children, whereas he clearly was very established and respected before that, and that's what's kind of got into that position. So really nice to kind of get that insight. A couple more questions before we let you go, Alex. Triple G, my friend Peter here, has asked if CGC at Thought Bubble to witness signatures.
Oh, not by my knowledge. Not by my knowledge, no.
I don't think they are. I think I looked into that, and I don't think they are, unfortunately.
I can speak to Stuart if you like and find out.
Who's Stuart?
He's one of the guys who works at CGC London.
Yeah, Tom, you can't just drop names in like we all know who Stuart is.
So I was thinking he meant Stuart from Thought because we've got Stuart too.
Oh, yeah, Stuart. Oh, Stu-Dog. S-Dog. Yeah. Andy.
Yes, sir.
You look like you were going to say something, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, if CGC aren't there in any capacity, then it certainly seems as if it's a missed opportunity for them. Because that's the one thing that I particularly love about Thought Bubble is the access that you get to the writers, the artists, the creators. It's just a lot different feeling than it is to go to an MCM or one of the, you know, almost like plastic conventions where it's more, it's less about the comics. You'll be hard pressed to find a comic in the place. So yeah, I think they should definitely look into that if they've not already.
Oh no, I'll happily add that to a list of recommendations and stuff. We're open to more feedback from the public every year. We try and get some surveys done from customers and stuff to try and get that sort of stuff. So I'll pass it along. But it's one thing that Thought Bubble just strive for is like trying to be a convention for the artists and for the medium. They've strived really hard to make sure merchandising stuff is kept separate and tried to minimal at best. Hence why we've got such a plethora of like indie and big artists mixed together throughout all the halls now. They've pushed for that throughout everything, even pushing like the Wacom thing with recent years and spreading out into more indie, mixing up with now Comicsology now having a major influence with us. They're just trying to purely stick to the art and medium rather than merchandising and such.
It's so good that they do that because the like the big cons, like the London Comic Con and the Birmingham Comic Con, they're just so festered with stuff that has nothing to do with comic books. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like you look at like the MCMs and you look at the Comic Village, and I've talked to people within the Comic Village and then who have had a Thought Bubble stall, and it's just they recognise the difference between like even from like the staff point, the people that come, like we volunteer and we get people from all around the world, from different countries every year, and it's like we're here to help you guys facilitate your love and your passion here at this convention, and like we're saying with the guests, we're here to help you enjoy yourselves. So like it's all like noted that we're all here for the same agenda, and it's no one feels like, oh, they're just paid to be here, they're just doing it for the thing. As soon as they realize like we're volunteers, like, oh, well, wow, this is a lot more than we'd expect from someone doing just a volunteer work.
Well,
cool.
I was going to ask you before you sign off to sell Thought Bubble and to tell the people why it's the place to be, and you have literally just done that in the best words possible. So, Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. We need to hang out again soon because it's been too long, my friend. And I feel like if we hold that in until the Saturday night of Thought Bubble, things could be very, very dangerous concoction.
I'll be having this karaoke now, guys. This is it now. You've set a standard. It's going to be on now. Like
That's my feedback. Karaoke.
Alex, people only come on YouTube to plug things. So is there anything or anyone or plug away, my friend?
Oh, well, just Thought Bubble itself, guys. If you want to join us, we do have an open volunteering thing. It's volunteer at thoughtbubblefestival.com. We are looking for anyone and everyone. We take anyone to join up from like young ages to old. Doesn't really matter what fan you roll at Super Bowl. Otherwise, you'll find me at Bowel Effects if you have any questions or like that. Otherwise, if not, I'll be the ginger blur you'll see running around the convention all weekend.
You literally can't miss him, guys. You cannot. You cannot miss him. Alex, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for giving us our time. It's been a really great insight into behind the scenes of Thought Bubble and all of the hard work that you and the fellow volunteers do. Thank you very much, kids. Say goodbye.
Thank you, Alex.
See you later, mate.
Cheers, mate.
There we go. That was cool, wasn't it?
It was very cool.
That was awesome. That was a really cool insight into the volunteers. And, do you know, it'd be really cool if we can get some of the people that are organising those volunteers and organising the actual show. If we can get those guys before November to say hello. So if you are watching, guys, or you see us on social media, we'd definitely love to get somebody on. So
drop us a message, and we'll love to have you on. This feature is going to be every week, and we are going to feature a different guest every week as well. So please do get in touch. But that is the Road to Thought Bubble for this week, and we drive forward, men. We march on. Go on.
I was just going to say, I just completely forgot to say during the James you were saying about the James Tynion stuff, the best read. His detective comic run was amazing, where he took Clayface and made him into a hero. That's an amazing run. If you haven't read it, go and read it.
My problem with Clayface now is I can't unsee Clayface as the thespian, over the top thespian actor that he is in the Harley Quinn series. Yeah. I can't undo that now, unfortunately. Here we go. Here's Hydra. Kind of celebrating your work, Tom, but also shamelessly plugging his own channel in our chat. Thank you. There we go. So let's move forward now with, and I'm very excited about this, guys. Can't you tell? There we go. It's Killer Comics Reviews, and this week we are going to take a detailed look at the Suicide Squad. So I actually gave my initial kind of spoiler-free impressions of the movie during our Killer Comics After Dark show. Guys, this is your opportunity, if you have not seen it, to don't leave, because we need the views. Just mute us. We're not going to give anything away like via sign language or images, so you don't have to worry about that. Right, okay, gang. Welcome, BFG. Thank you very much for joining us. Right, what I'm going to start by asking you, because I've literally only got 2 bullet points for this, but then I've got about 10 bullet points for the other thing. I want to ask you what you didn't like about this film. Okay, so go. Go on. We'll take it round the circle. Andy, hit me.
There was very little that I didn't like about it. I think the one thing that I found uneasy, and this is just me being a middle-aged father of 2 daughters, was the moment there was a scene in where your man Idris Elba was swearing and shouting to what was a 16-year-old girl. I felt really uneasy, but it was done so well, and the 2 of the actresses and the actors were fantastic.
That's the point, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but the for everything else, it's Suicide Squad, and it was absolutely brutal. Some of the scenes were, it was Kill Bill times 10. Is how I imagined it, but that was the only thing that I didn't like about it. Everything else I thought was absolutely spot on, and it was just good fun.
That scene in particular, though, I felt like, so Bloodsport and Deadshot are like parallel characters. Like, they're literally like the motive is similar, the skill set, like they are so similar. And obviously behind the scenes there was like a whole thing where they wanted Will Smith and then they couldn't get him, and Warner Brothers didn't want to kind of kill off the character or anything, so they just kind of went with a new character. But one of that scene in particular that you were referring to, I think sets them apart and makes Bloodsport more interesting, because he is that bit more imperfect. He's not. He doesn't know how to be a dad. He doesn't know how to talk to a young girl. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how emotionally how to kind of empathize and stuff. And the joy, I think, of his character was the kind of exploration from that moment up until the end, and his kind of relationship, almost fathering Ratcatcher 2 throughout, I felt.
Wow, Ben, you went deep with this movie, didn't you?
Guys, I am not kidding.
I want us to come back later.
This may be one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. Like, I am obsessed with this film. The one thing for me, there was one shot where you can see the crew, and that's poor. Yeah, you can literally see the crew in the jungle, and that's just poor show. And I was really upset how with 2 deaths. Okay, a lot of people. Spoiler warning, guys. A lot of people die in this film. But second spoiler warning: the 2 deaths that. The first one just annoyed me because I love the character is Boomer, Captain Boomerang. I was gutted. I kind of saw it coming, but I was gutted with that choice.
But they all died so spectacularly. That was like, there was not one poor, like, if there can be like a poor death, but it was just like all spectacular. And like there was some shots that were uneasy when you seen them. It was just like, what is that? Yeah. And you kind of had to, you almost turned away from it sometimes. And James, there's only one person that could, if James Gunn had to do all the DC movies going forward, I wouldn't hate that at all.
I think that this has succeeded because the approach has been completely different to, and some people are like, oh, it's like an MCU film. No, it's not like an MCU film. Have you seen a bird pecking at an exploded man's face in the MCU? Like, and
listen, wait a second. I'm from the East End of Glasgow. I've seen that's normal.
Saturday night, 3 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think that should be their technique moving forward, is to, and you look at the success of like Joaquin Phoenix Joker, and it's to make these for adults, make these R-rated, make these violent with adult themes, blah, 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 and kind of go that like DC Black Label route, but for films. I do think that will be its success. But yeah, I was annoyed at that. And the one kind of death that pulled at my heartstrings was the polka dot man. It was just so heart wrenching because it was that moment that he'd kind of found that redemption, and it's I'm a superhero, and then but hilarious at the same time. That kind of like that's one of my favorite things about this is the violence is there and it's really violent, but it's almost used in the same way slapstick is, and it's like humor. Now there's humor in it, which is very odd. Tom.
Yes.
First impressions, are you kind of on the same page?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's nothing else for me to add. You've said everything I was going to say, to be fair. There's nothing I didn't like about it, to be honest.
I think we've got
Nothing
to
at all.
No.
I'm going to take that all day long.
Actually, to be maybe the start was a bit disjointed. That's all I'd say. It was a little bit too much going on at the start to understand what was going on. But other than that, it was all right. I liked it very much so.
Good. You sound too impartial. It's making me nervous. I mean, I like one of the things I want to highlight is the John Murphy soundtrack for this. The soundtrack's really cool, like in terms of the pop culture songs that James Gunn used. And did you notice like he did the whole diegetic sound thing a lot in the film? So
What does that
I don't know what a diegetic sound is.
it's like when you're hearing a song just as it is, and then you hear the song as they hear it in the scene. So like it will play clear and crisp, and then it will play as if it's on the radio, sort of thing. And he did that a lot. And but the John Murphy soundtrack,
diegetic.
Ratism, that song that they used at the end in the climactic scene was a real highlight for me. I love the kind of back and forth storytelling, and that's usually not something that I think it's a cheap way of storytelling sometimes, that whole kind of 8 days later or but James Gunn did it in such a kind of inventive way. It wasn't necessarily back and forth, it was kind of side to side, and it meant that you never got bored. Like it's impossible to get bored in this film.
Tom, who was your favorite character of all?
King Shark.
King Shark was your favorite?
100%. Loved him from the start.
Stay off the comms, Tom.
Stay what? Stay off the what? Comms.
The comms. Look, I am in love with King Shark.
King Shark again.
Nanawe, and it's really interesting because I know that originally he was going to have him as like a hammerhead shark, and they went against that because he couldn't kind of emote properly, and it was hard for the actors to kind of act with eyes being like either side of the head. And it's really interesting that he looks very similar to like the animated series, but his personality is completely sort of different. But I'm always drawn to the tough guy, the big guy, the Hulk. And when that big guy is so kind of naive and innocent, and pure, even though he's eating people, it's just because he's hungry, not them. I'm immediately drawn to that. But Daniela Melchior, her performance as Ratcatcher 2 was sensational, and for me, it's like it's the beating heart of the whole film.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with that. To be fair,
yeah,
she's amazing.
She was very
Peacemaker
cool.
for me, hands down.
Okay.
I thought Peacemaker. I thought the John Cena was fantastic in the movie.
Yeah,
it was funny.
I'll give you that.
His fight scenes play, it was fan service for wrestling fans because you could just see lots and lots of wrestling moves in amongst the sequences. I thought it was funny, and the fact that, spoiler, we know that he's still there and he's still alive. I think they set that up to see either the next Suicide Squad movie or a standalone Peacemaker movie, or it becomes like
it's a series, isn't it? It's confirmed. It's happening.
Was it a TV show?
Oh, it's underway. It's filmed. It's like
nice. I'm all in. Yeah.
Do you see him survive after the credits?
Yeah. So after credits, they two of the Stooges, two of Amanda Waller's Stooges, are in a hospital, and they're like, he survived, he's a hero, and they're like, no, he's a dickhead.
That's annoying.
and-
I saw the Weasel bit,
Yeah,
and then it played more credits. I was like, all right, cool, I can turn it off now. That's really annoying.
yeah. But HBO Max are doing a Peacemaker series, and James Gunn's, been heavily involved in it. John Cena's there. Yeah, they've got the two characters that find him in the hospital. They're in the series and stuff. So I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun to. I guess now he's got to have that redemption arc now, isn't it? It's like I think throughout the film he kind of just comes across as
A dick.
A bit of an idiot, like an idiot. You can't hate him because what he believes, but then obviously the decisions that he was going to make during the film and stuff are real kind of bad guy realm.
Mate, that bit where the Noir, how do you say it? I mean, King Sharp, but how do you say his name? Noabe?
Nanawe.
Nanawe. The way he makes that miniature Peacemaker, I was literally like, my heart melted. I was like, this guy's my favorite character by 100%.
It's the way he's like, it's actually quite lovely.
The mustache disguise.
Yeah, we had that noob enjoyed the moustache there as well in the chat.
James Gunn has a real speciality of making unknown characters relevant, and he's pretty much done that with a host of characters that people just wouldn't been aware of. And if that makes people go and search out their comics and search out their first appearances, then I'm all in.
Absolutely, and absolutely a great segue as well. So that's kind of what we all thought of the films. We all clearly loved it. I'm clearly obsessed.
Just quickly, did you find that King Sharp was like he'd done the same thing he did with Drax? Kind of like brought him in as like the muscle kind of character you're not really supposed to like, but you end up falling in love with that character.
100%.
And the bit where he goes to eat the rat catcher is holding her up. That was amazing.
I think I was just shocked at how powerful he was. Like he is like Hulk level, powerful.
He falls out of a building, then gets pummeled to death with bullets, and still stands up.
Literally, and it, I think it's just the kind of obliviousness to the whole situation. I love that. But I think that James Gunn's just done an incredible job because you fall in love with all of these characters. Like I fell in love with Polka Dot Man. I fell in love with all of them, like Ratcatcher 2, Bloodsport.
He even made, if anything, I mean, I didn't really like the first one, but he even made Flag a lovable character. Like I really liked Flag. And then obviously what happened to Flag, I was fucking gutted. Like I was literally like, I said to Charles, like, that is shit. That is really shit.
Because you're invested in the character, that's what James does really well. You start to invest in those characters, and when something like that happens to him, you're like, oh no.
But the only character that I felt that I had that connection with in the first one was the El Diablo. I didn't care about anyone else. I didn't care about Harley. I didn't really care about Will Smith as Will Smith. I didn't really care about the Joker being in it. I didn't care about anything else apart from El Diablo, and then that didn't work out very well. But in this one,
I think the actors
I loved everybody.
Oh, sorry, you froze. I thought you were finished.
Sorry, God.
No, I was just saying, like, I think that's where the first film fails its actors, because I actually think the casting and the look of the characters and everything is amazing in the first film, but the way it's written and put across is just not. You don't invest, and this film did an amazing job as well at kind of plucking the best bits of that first film in terms of like Waller, and I mean, can we just say, like, Amanda Waller, like. That character, like, she completely embodies that character. It's absolutely incredible. Like, I'd be scared to be in a scene with her. Yeah, because you just believe it.
She should marry the Kingpin, because I think those two as a duo would be ferocious.
Oh, New York would be that would be it. And I mean, obviously, they've done the kind of Suicide Squad version in the Thunderbolts recently, haven't they? With Kingpin, sort of similar.
You know the bit where Harley Quinn unlocks the key with her feet?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Margot Robbie did that.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if it's the wig or what, but I'm getting warm. Yeah, no, guys, it's incredible. I don't think there's. I mean, I could sit here and gush for a long time. I really could, but Andy has prepared some slides, and I have brought along with me some show and tells as well to kind of go along with those slides. So we are going to look. Andy was referring earlier to the comic book origins of these characters, and James Gunn has clearly kind of exploded the text in a lot of instances and kind of made his own of the characters, but they do have their origins, they do have their first appearances, and these are books that are now Killer Keys. So let's have a look at who is up first.
Yes. So I scoured the internet, I looked up all the apps and all the Googles, and I was really interested to see where the first appearances in particular were for these characters. So I'm going to rely on the chat to call me out if there's anything that's wrong, because I'm sure there probably will be, but I tried my best to find all the first appearances for all the characters. So there's obviously quite a lot of them, so we'll go through them relatively quickly, okay? First up is Amanda Waller herself. First appearance in Legends issue number 1 from 1986. So chat, let me know, are you 1 for 1 on this, 0 for 1? Do you actually have this? Let us know in the chat, because I know that you've got it. There you go, Benjamin.
Ben's got it, yeah,
One
nice.
for one, baby.
Nice. I have this as well, and it's in fairly good condition. I've actually got the whole run of this. I think this was a 6-issue run, and it's definitely a good one to pick up, obviously.
Is that Bane on
Darkseid
fire?
cover.
Is that Bane on
Darkseid?
fire? No, there's
Oh, Bane's on, but Bane and then Darkseid, yeah. But you can also find this with a DC Universe logo as well on the bottom left-hand side. So if you do find that in your back issue bins, pick it up, because it is worth at least double or treble the money. Next up, we have Harley Quinn herself, and everybody knows the first appearance of Harley Quinn. Now, I think this is like in DC continuity. I think, oh, look at you,
Tom, you bastard.
it's the only one I own.
Wow. What's the condition like on that, Tom?
Make me big.
That's 9.6 all day long.
Benjamin.
How do I make people big?
Hold on, let me do it. Hold on. There we go. Let's make better. Oof.
Oh,
Guys. Oh, that is beautiful. You going to get that CG seed?
Mate, it's going on
CBCS?
for a clean and press, actually. I'm sending
Nice.
it to the comic clinic.
Doesn't even need a
Nice.
clean and a press. That's beautiful.
That
right
is
there.
phenomenal. So yeah, that's the Batman Adventures issue number 12 from 1993. I
Cool.
don't have this one, needless to say.
No.
Next up, we have Bloodsport himself, and this is Superman issue number 4 from 1987. And this is $1. This was a $1 bin book, and Benjamin has it. I've got it as well. Have you got this one, Tom?
I don't.
Don't have that one.
I'm not a DC collector. I only collect my favorite characters, and I don't really
Right.
collect many DC characters.
This book was such a $1, like a $1 bin book, as they say. Like you could get this for next to nothing, and it's just skyrocketed on eBay at the minute. So
Do you know what
did you
I'd
pick that
love
up,
to see?
Ben,
I'd
after?
love to see them do a live action, like a kind of flashback of when he puts the bullet in Superman, but instead of being in his kind of cool xenomorph type helmet and having all his gadgets, he's in like a, in like his red do-rag there on his head. And like, yeah, that's what I want to see. What did you ask? Sorry.
No, I was just asking, did you pick this up like before the movie, or was it whenever you
Yeah,
heard the news?
before the film, the moment they announced Idris as Bloodsport and not, because originally Idris was just going to be a recast Deadshot. Apparently, that's I remember when the rumors were that.
Rumors of him playing Bronze Tiger as well, wasn't there?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that as well. So yeah, the moment it was like confirmed, but I think it's, I love the kind of spin that they put on it. That he put a kryptonite bullet in Superman, but he is just a man for hire, and he's just kind of doing what he's doing to get along in the galaxy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the character design, that helmet, and even though it made no scientific sense, the gun kind of, the build a gun.
Yeah.
It was just brilliant. I just felt like a little
Yeah.
boy watching that film.
Yeah, it was cool.
And obviously, Bloodsport's Mask was based on Alien. The
Yeah.
Xenomorph, and James Gunn was open about that, saying, "Yeah, I just copied it." Basically,
But that in itself is such a lovely homage because James Gunn was inspired by James Cameron, which is why he did it. So I think that's a really nice little throwback. I think that's amazing to get that. I mean, imagine having that kind of power to be like, right, yeah, I really respect you, so therefore I'm going to put your thing on one of my characters.
ABC
saying,
saying that the first Bloodsport was pretty cheap not that long ago. So full disclosure, mine was about 6 months ago, and I paid about 30 quid. So
that's what I paid for my other one.
Shut your face.
I picked mine up for £1. Sorry.
I was just sick in my mouth.
Next up, we've got Weasel, which was such a super fun character. And Weasel's first appearance is Firestorm, the Nuclear Man, issue number 35 from 1985. Again, this is a book that I have only because I pick up the Firestorm run. I think this is like a 35, maybe 40 issue run. Is this one you guys have got?
So
for me, mate.
I have absolutely no interest in Firestorm whatsoever as a character. Weasel, however, and this version of Weasel that Sean Gunn, brother to James Gunn, has brought to life, who has now become like an expert in like making pathetic characters like lovable as well, because he, like, Kraglin was like nothing, and now like I love Kraglin. Like, there's a whole corner of the internet of people who love Kraglin, and I've met Sean Gunn. And he was
the
like
dark web,
super nice. The Kraglin web. I didn't pick up the first appearance, and it's not because I can't afford it. Okay, it's because I can't afford it. But I picked up the second appearance of Weasel, which is actually a cover appearance, which I prefer. So let me make my.
Yeah, make yourself big.
Me.
How do I do that?
Yeah, I'll do it for you. Hold on.
That's right. I'm there. So yeah, it's a first cover appearance, and it literally says "Pop goes the Weasel."
Nice.
Brilliant.
Sold.
Is he eating that tie or a shirt? Oh, it looks Hold on.
He's holding someone like above his head.
It almost looks like he's eating it. It's awesome.
It's really cool. He's like really different to how he is in the.
I don't have that cover, Ben, but I think I might actually try and pick it up because I really like it. It's actually much better than that Firestorm.
Yeah, I think so.
Next up, guys, we have Rick Flag himself, and his first appearance is in Brave and the Bold, issue number 25 from 1959. This is a book that's we're not going to be affording anytime soon, and you probably won't find it in a dollar bin, or I keep saying dollar, but yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah, I don't know if anybody in the chat has this one. Next up, we have Savant and Birds of Prey, issue number 56 from 2003. Guys,
that's achievable.
Yeah, definitely.
I haven't got it.
I had to take a second guess when I seen this one because I expected it to be an older book that his first appearance was on, but there we go. Peacemaker. First appearance of Peacemaker is in The Fighting Five, issue number 40 from 1966. Again, another book even before the Peacemaker was announced for this is unattainable, certainly from my wallet anyway. I know that you were interested in Peacemaker and getting, is it the Charlton cover, Ben?
Yes, indeed. So I've got the 5-issue DC run when DC got the rights to him and they introduced him and they did a kind of 5-issue run. So I'm really happy to have that run. Unfortunately, I do not have any of the Charlton books, but I'd die to have a Charlton. I'd rather have a Charlton Peacemaker 1 than the Fighting 5, to be honest. I just love the cover.
Yeah.
It's so
Such
ridiculous.
A nice cover.
Like the helmet is just so stupid. It's great.
So if anybody in the chat does have that particular book and they want to let go of it, or they know somebody that has, then slide into Benjamin's
Send them Savant's way.
Ratcatcher. Now, technically, this character here is Ratcatcher 2, but the original Ratcatcher, who was the father, which we've seen in the sort of movie, is Detective Comics issue 585 from 1988.
Shit.
Yeah,
This is expensive.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm trying to collect all the books that came out the year of my birth, and this is one of them.
There you go. I mean, obviously, Ratcatcher 2 does not exist in the comics. For now,
Yeah.
like I give it months before
She'll have a solo series without a doubt.
She's
Absolutely.
created an icon. Like I think it would be like the Harlequin effect. You know how like Harlequin was in the animated series before she was in the books, and it's like people forget that. I think it will be the same for Ratcatcher 2. So I don't have this first appearance, unfortunately, which is very annoying. But once again, I have the second appearance, which again I do love this cover, but again I think I actually prefer this one a little bit. I just think it's really kind of cool and ominous with all the rat's eyes and stuff like that.
What issue is that?
That's the one straight after, yeah.
6?
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, and I love the character in the books because he's horrible. Like he's horrible. And you know, it's obviously really interesting kind of what they did about, you know, the kind of retelling of these kind of Portugal street dwellers and, you know, just trying to get by sort of thing. And I really bought into that as well. But there's not one of these characters is like how they are in the books, really. Brick Flag.
No, absolutely. And I think that's the great thing about it. I was just thinking, if Triple G still watching and still in the chat, I'm sure Triple G has probably 15 copies of these key books because he loves these key books. Does
love a key.
He does indeed. So next up is Captain Boomerang, and his first appearance was Flash issue number 117, and that's gone back to 1960. Obviously, look at the character on that cover. How cool is that cover of Flash? And it's just a little bit different to the Boomerang that we know and love from the movie. But again, unattainable.
I always forget that he's a Flash bad guy.
Yeah,
and that's why I was gutted as well, because I felt like if you left that door open, you know, he could have appeared again, and like just I would die to see like Ezra Miller's Flash kind of winding him up and things like that. Like, but in the comics, it's interesting his kind of evolution into more and more of an asshole as the years have gone by. Triple G is confirmed not DC, so it's Marvel keys, not DC keys. And he has the first Harley. Of course, he has the first Harley. Oh, I don't collect DCs, but I've got the first Harley. What I wanted to show is obviously I haven't got that first appearance, but this is the origin of Captain Boomerang. So it actually tells the story of when he was a lad, basically. Cool. So yeah, and again, like really fun cover and stuff. So
what issue is that? Sorry, Ben.
That is Suicide Squad 44. Volume
44. Cool. Great cover.
Yeah, very cool. So happy to have it.
Nice. Next up, we've got Polka Dot Man, and his first appearance was in Detective Comics issue 300 from 1962. And check out that cover, guys. Look at the Polka Dot Man on that cover. It is
quality, mate.
Amazing.
So old school.
I mean, it's 60s Batman at its best, isn't it? And I remember like when like I kind of started collecting all these Suicide Squad keys, and yeah, like you get to Polka Dot Man, you're like, surely. And then you find it, and it's probably the most expensive book of all of these books. So yeah, completely unattainable. Oh, good, Fuzzy Dunlop there with some casual racism towards Australia.
Oh, nice.
Sorry, guys, down under, all our fans down under. No, it's all right, they're asleep. But yeah, so obviously I haven't got that.
It's definitely worth calling it. Like. Some of these are attainable, some of them obviously aren't, especially after the movie coming out. But definitely check out the second and the third appearances, and also the origin stories, because they can sometimes be a lot more attainable. I went down a rabbit hole the other day looking for cover appearances of Starro, And there are a lot, believe me, and there's like books that you wouldn't even imagine that Starrow's appeared on the cover of. So that I might do throw that into one of the Killer Comic
Mate,
shows.
it's all about Jaro.
Jaro, the Robin. Amazing.
There we go. Next up, we've got Blackguard, and this was I didn't know this that Booster Gold issue number 1 from 1986 was his first appearance.
No, I it's not one I've acquired yet. I love
Even though it
film.
says it on the cover. I didn't even know.
I love in the film how he literally does nothing. Like everyone, you kind of get an understanding of their power set and things like that, but he literally doesn't do anything. Like, and it's like, yeah, he's just got a great arsehole face, doesn't he? That actor, what's his name? Like, you want to punch him, don't you?
He's in a great film about, is it Staten Island?
Staten Island, yeah, really good. He's a very gifted comedian.
How many guns does he need? Like, I've just noticed his outfit there. The suit has 2 guns at the chest. That's the first time I've actually noticed that. And he's got what appears to be one in his pocket as well. So,
but couldn't see
or is he happy to see you, Andy?
Well, most people are. Next up, we've got Javelin. Green Lantern issue number 173.
I knew I recognised the character. I just couldn't place him.
How good's that cover, guys?
Green Lantern bad guy.
Yo.
Very cool.
First Javelin, baby. Pew, pew.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm. I mean, it's just so ridiculous, isn't it? But I love that ultimately part of him serves as like one of the biggest kind of plot points of this whole film in the end. Pete Davidson, thank you very much, Firehawk. Pete Davidson, you just want to slap him in the face, don't you? Another fan of Jarrow there, feels no diverse. Next up, Mongal.
Basically a poor man Starfire.
Pretty much. Superman issue number 170 from 2001. Again, a super attainable book. You'll find it in the back issue bin. Again, this is another one that you guys need to look out for because there is a more expensive copy of this and it has the DC Universe logo on the bottom left-hand side. So if you are digging through and you see that, definitely pick it up because it is worth a pretty penny. You got this one, guys, Benjamin?
Nope, I'm out on this one, I'm afraid.
Not me, mate.
It's Superman, so I was immediately out, regardless.
Yeah.
Next. TDK.
Or
What
Armful
character?
Off Boy, as he's known in the comics.
That's exactly it. That's what he's reckon, and that's what threw me for this one when I was actually doing a bit of investigating to find out his first appearance. Because when you try to put in first appearance of TDK comics, nothing really comes up, and obviously that's not the name that he's in the comics. So the first appearance is Secret Origins issue number 46 from 1989. Again, another super attainable book, as Benjamin is showing there. Nice.
Yeah, buddy.
Next up, Calendar Man. So we got a little sort of cameo of Calendar Man. And his first, totally. His first appearance is Detective Comics 259 from 1958. And my suggestion would be, guys, is we're going to showcase some of the characters that you probably wouldn't have known were there in the background, and they're probably the characters to pick up because you're sure that they're more than likely going to be in the next Suicide Squad movie.
Not Calendar Man, if you look at the prices for this book.
Well, that's true. That's not an attainable book by any stretch of imagination, and not a great cover either. Arguably,
No, awful, hideous.
Yeah.
Why is he radioactive?
Say again, Tom. Sorry.
Why is he radioactive?
Yeah, I don't
think that's him on the cover. I don't think that's Calendar Man. Calendar Man looked like proper different back in it. He literally had a cape that had like dates on it and stuff. Like this kind of bald look was kind of made iconic with the long Halloween, and then they put in the games like that and stuff. And it's weird because he's kind of almost played by Sean Gunn as like a hick, in the prison scene, and I kind of want him to be a bit more like kind of camp and quietly, scary. But I am flexing with my books. You better believe that, Fuzzy Dunlop. It doesn't happen often, but I'm flexing, baby.
I'm just glad I didn't bring my books. I have this one, Flash Iron Heights. This was a one-shot. Again, really attainable, this one, from 2001. And the only reason I picked it up was because it had the first appearance. Because I'm sorry to say I'm not a huge Flash fan, so definitely see if you can pick this one up. Next up, we have Kaleidoscope. And again, this you can go on eBay now and pick this up for a couple of quid because I've checked. This is New Adventures of Superboy, issue number 36 from 1982. And it's a fantastic cover as well, that one. She looks a really cool character as well. I don't know a lot about the character or the background, but seems cool. Ben, one for you?
Well, they're all one for me now. It's kind of my rabbit hole now. So yeah, thanks for that. I'll get on eBay after this.
Nice. The Thinker,
but not for this one because it's really expensive. This next one.
Yeah, I was going to say this one is huge. I think this is maybe the second most expensive one. For I think Starro wins that one, but this is for The Thinker. I thought this was a great character. All Flash issue number 12 from 1943. Classic cover. Yeah. There's no point in asking.
Capaldi goes full in the thick of it for this film, and it was so good. His performance was so good.
It's just in just.
I just can't see it.
I clean pressed it, and this is how it came out.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, wow, Tom, that looks really nice, man. Wow.
Yes, my favorite, Starro, and this is a very, very expensive book, even more so after the movie, and it's Brave and the Bold, issue number 28.
Yeah, but if you got the cash, it's not an issue.
Well, I
like that it says 199 on yours.
Well, let me raise you one. So this is the second appearance of Starro the Conqueror.
Shit, son.
So this is Justice League of America issue number 65. And if you go on eBay right now, you can pick this up for 10 quid in a really, really good condition. Not mine, FYI. And there is another appearance of Starro the Conqueror, but it's kind of like a second appearance cameo because it's on a billboard in issue number 27 of Justice League of America. So if you want to be a completionist, you want to get that cover, you want to get this cover, and you want to get issue number 27. I think it's 27 or 24, one of the two, but definitely worth checking out.
Have you seen the Clayton Crane homage to this that's on Justice League issue 1 of the Schneider run?
Ooh, have I?
It's amazing. I'll send you a picture. I've got one. It's going up on Not Quite Mint, but I've got one. I'll show you. It's actually a beautiful cover.
Definitely. As I say, I'm down the rabbit hole trying to find all the cover appearances of Starro at the minute, and you would not believe the amount there. And even like really obscure books like Carrot Man.
Oh, mate,
issue number 3. Issue number 3 of Carrot Man has them, but yeah.
Poor Starro. He just wanted to float in the sky looking at the stars.
With these big sad eye. There's your favourite, King Shark, Superboy issue number 9 from 1994.
I've literally just bought this one yesterday.
Look at you dropping the cash.
It wasn't expensive. 30 quid. Can't go wrong. 40 quid, sorry.
Yeah, 50 quid, sorry.
It's short.
I picked mine up for 50p.
Nice.
Right, so I'm the tight ass then because
So have you got the cameo?
I've got the cameo.
Superboy Zero. I've got that covered.
Superboy Zero. That's the cameo. Shut up.
There we go. That, guys, is everything that we have with regards to the Killer Keys. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you've got any of those books or if you're going to pick them up off the back of knowing some of those first appearances. As I say, remember, second appearances and also those origin stories are the ones you need to look for. So, guys, that is the Suicide Squad Killer Keys.
There you go. What a segment. Guys, we are deep in this show, and I am cautious that we have got a lot still to go. So please, if you are still with us, thank you very much. We are now going to get onto the comic books, which I know is why the millions are here waiting for comic books. So first and foremost, I believe, if I can find the video, it's this man.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
I have to share my screen again, don't I, guys? Boom.
Boom.
And
Killer Keys. So
first
what
up, Tom.
Killer Keys. What we got? What's up first, mate?
Boom.
Ah, right. Okay. So this one, I'm sure Ben is excited
My boy.
for. If you go back and watch the really long-winded preview show that we did on Not Quite Mint, you'll see how excited Ben got about this about 2.5 hours in. But yeah, this one is written by Ed Broughton, art by Rosie Campai, and it is a one-shot exploring where Clown Hunter has been during this period of time during the what happened after the Joker War. Has he been doing his filing cabinet? Or has he actually been out killing clowns? So this is one where we actually get to find out a bit about it. And I think there's a kind of like mini story in here where it's going to cover kind of what happened during the Joker War that we didn't get to see. So
Cool.
Yeah,
should be
cool.
quite interesting.
Mate, I'm all in.
Yeah, you've got two. You've got both covers, haven't you? Should be. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got you down for both covers. I think.
Okay.
I'm going to hazard a guess and say that this is going to be Ben's pick of the week for us all to read. Just throwing it out there right now.
For
More
next
than
week.
likely.
Let me look into
Yeah.
the future. Yeah.
Or the week
yeah,
after. Is what a week behind. I don't know.
Every week you have to
What
read
day
Clown
is it?
Hunter.
Jackie Chan.
Where are we?
Who am I? Yeah, so the next one up is Warhammer 40,000 Sisters of Battle. This one is written by a female writer who actually wrote some of the Miss Marvel series. So she's quite an established writer. So they brought her onto this to do a all-female kind of Marine cast. And it's all about their story and how they're situated within the Warhammer 40,000 kind of lore and what they get up to. So it's the first appearances of all the characters. So it's the first time they've ever been in a book, and also it's the first time, I think, if I'm right, that Marvel have done a Warhammer 40,000 based around a female team, just all female, no one else. Like there's no males in it at all. It's all female. So
Cool.
and it's a 5-part
World.
series. Exactly, girls from the world.
How many covers is out for this? I would imagine this is the sort of book that there's going to be like 1 million covers for it.
Actually, not that many when you look into it. So there's 3 retail covers that come from Marvel, and I think then there's a couple of exclusives, but they haven't actually announced them. So there's a couple that haven't shown what they're doing yet. It's a bit like the Inhuk Lee Asian Pacific. Oh, I don't even know how to say it, but his appreciation ones that he's recently just done.
Yeah.
As they've come out, each week it's like, right, Hulk comes out next week, but they don't release the artwork until the day it's released. And it's kind of like,
Right.
Okay, well, we didn't find out until, I think it was last week, we found out what Hulk looked like, and it dropped yesterday.
Right, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so the next one up is
Wow.
Spider-Woman, issue 14, written by Carla Pracho, and the artwork's by Pere Perez. And this is the first appearance in this book of Rose Roach. So it's worth picking up if you're interested in first appearances. I think first appearances are quite good to pick up, to put on your back burner, because you never know with Marvel when they're going to turn up in the books, and you can, there'll be an investment for you, as it were.
100%. I like that cover. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, so this is a 5-part miniseries for Kang the Conqueror. It's the first time he's ever had his own solo series. It is a 5-parter, but it is looking into... It is. So basically, it's kind of starting off where Loki finished, but in the Marvel universe rather than the cinematic universe. So it's a case of exploring the multiverse, where Kang's been, what Kang gets up to, whether Kang likes himself or doesn't like himself, that kind of thing. It's written by multiple artists, and it's got multiple writers in it as well, because it's not just one story in this book. It's a couple of multiple stories. that will all cross over the 5 issues, and I believe the final and 5th issue brings them all together. Yeah, the Scotty Young variant for this is stunning and sold out.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I'm all in for the Scott Young variant of this. I think this is a real sleeper. This one,
It will be.
I think there's going to be at least one new appearance, and I think we might even see a new Kang in this, like a new version of Kang in this. I'm just going to see it.
That Kang.
It might not be in this issue, but it will happen in this series, mate. 100%.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, 100%. I think is that all your covers for?
That's it, mate. Yeah, that's all the covers this week. There are a couple of notable mentions, but it depends whether or not you've got them in your indie picks. So I might mention it.
Well, let's find out, shall we?
While we're on the subject of keys, next week there are a couple of keys that drop on Saturday, which are free comic book day, that you might want to pick up, i.e. Stray Dogs.
The question is, though, Tom, where should they go and get all these books that you've just saw and those free comic book days?
Well, I was going to wait till the end. But if you want to pick up any comic books, you can head over to notquitemint.com, because we have a bundle of books that you can buy. We do pre-orders for pretty much every month, so you can always get your month in advance. You can get your books ordered through us. Also, this Saturday, we're doing free comic book day. So any comic book you buy, you will receive a free comic book day book as well. So if you buy 10 comics, you get 10 free comics. If you buy 20 comics, you get 20 free comics. It's going to be like that, to be fair. So any order you make, you get a free comic with it. So it's worth going over there on Saturday to do that.
Nice.
Notquitemint.com, people, check it out. There was nearly a smooth segue.
Sorry,
it wasn't so smooth in the end, but we're here now, so we might as well. I like it when you call me daddy.
Perpetual's you threw me there. Perpetual's Killer Indie Picks for New Comic Book Day, the 18th of August, guys. Some absolutely fantastic books that are coming out next week. And it was actually quite hard to narrow it down. I think 2 or 3 I've got here. First up, we have Eat the Rich.
I was going to mention this.
Number 1 by Boom Studios. Guys, you need to get on this. This is going to be a fantastic book. The covers for this are absolutely spectacular, and I'm going to show you a few of them that I don't normally do in my indie pick selection. But this looks, it's sort of, the synopsis says it's a bold, horrifying psychological thriller. Sarah Gailey is the writer of the book. And even the covers to go by. I'm just going to flick through some of the covers, guys, and then we can maybe have a wee chat about it. The art and cover art is by, I'm going to butcher this, but Piers Back. Sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Back, if I've butchered your name there. But guys, there is a plethora, good word, of covers for this.
It's too late for that.
Can you just say out the names for me, Andy?
Sure. So the first up, we've got Becca Carey. So I just picked out the ones that I really liked. I really was just going to do a massive big slide for Jenny Frisson. So you've got Becca Carey.
Yeah,
you've got
Jenny. I like that one, to be fake.
Jenny Frisson.
Sorry, say again.
We've also got a rather delicious-looking scan variant on the bottom left-hand side, and then we've got Michaela Dawn. That Jenny Frisson cover comes in I believe it's a 1 in 50 as well.
It is, mate. It is
so it comes in a virgin cover. I think the Frisson one is going to be the one to pick up, guys. That's going to be the key for me.
This book is going to be hot. It's definitely going to be one of those ones. If you don't get it now, you'll regret it in 6 months' time. 100%. Because Ross Ritchie is backing this massively, like he backed Something's Killing the Children when it first came out, and he's told everyone it's a sleeper. So he's the man to listen to, really.
Everybody's picking up these books just because they think it's going to be the next Something is Killing the Children. I don't think House of Slaughter is going to be the next Something's Killing the Children. It's not going to be as popular, and the first issue there's going to be hundreds of thousands of them. but I'm just interested to see what the print run is on these books, specifically
Not
this
high.
one.
Not the highest.
No, I don't think so. And that's why that 1 in 50 is going to be so key, because I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of them. So definitely see if you can check it out. What about you, Ben? Are you going to pick this one up?
I'm going to try before I buy, maybe read online, see what I think.
I'm gonna go.
This is going to be my pick.
I was going to say, I was going to go. My brain's tingling. I was going to say this. My spidey sense of saying that you'd be this. You'll there.
You're right.
I've just had a stroke.
Oh no. Yes, I'm going to make this my pick of the week. So the week after next, you can tune in and see what we all think about this book.
Just a quick one, Andy.
Sure.
Tom, Leon's asked if said about Forbidden Planet apparently having supply issues for Free Comic Book Day. Is that case
yeah,
with
it's
you,
true. It is true. Same for us. We've had only half our supply of Free Comic Book Day stuff. I am not getting any of the DC stuff, but DC doesn't come out for 2 weeks. But they're saying it comes out next week, but it's not coming out for 2 weeks. So most comic shops are doing it on the 28th, but I have half of my stuff. So I thought I might as well do it whilst I've got it, because a lot of people are doing the same thing.
Yeah, why not? Get it out
and
the
I've
door.
got all the most key books that you want for Free Comic Book Day have already been delivered. So I've got the Avengers, I've got the Spider-Man, I've got the House of Slaughter, I've got the Stray Dogs, I've got the Star Wars ones. So they're the key ones that people will want. So I have those. You're welcome to buy a comic book off me on Saturday, and you get possibly one of those for free. Well, you will get one of those for free.
And back to you in the studio, Andy.
Sorry.
Nice. No, not at all. Next up is God of Tremors. This, I believe, is just a one-shot from Aftershock Comics, if I can remember rightly. The writer is Peter Milligan. And this just sounds like a really cool story. It's all about a character called Aubrey, who suffers from epilepsy. And when she has her first seizure, effectively her father, who is some sort of like high-ranking officer in the military, believes that she's possessed and tries to get her is it exercised? Is that
exercised? Yeah.
There we go. Do you know when you say something, it doesn't sound as if it's correct? But anyway.
So,
Exercise. I've never heard of it.
I do a lot of it.
I hate you guys. And whenever this happens, it actually brings a demonic presence into Aubrey's life, and it just follows the story of. I think it basically takes a deep dive into like epilepsy and how people deal with that, and also how people react to people who have that. So I think it just sounds a really interesting story. It's only a one shot, so I'm going to give it a go. And I think there's 2 covers out for this, so definitely go check it out. Is this one that's been on your radar, Tom?
Yes, mate. Yeah, I want to read this one purely because of, like you said, it's the fact that she's like got. Is it autism? Did you say she's got kind of some kind of
epilepsy? Yeah,
epilepsy. Yeah. So I want to read it just because it's a completely different take on a story. And since you recommended Shadow Doctor, anything that isn't a superhero story or something sci-fi, I want to pick up. And I think this one is going to be like that. I don't necessarily think there is going to be those kind of powers. I think it's necessarily going to be a bit more of a kind of trying to think of the word. So it's like a bit more like a psychological thing. Like it's happened to her in her head, really, but it's actually not happening out and about in the world. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does make sense. Yeah, it'll be definitely an interesting story. I'm sure it's only a one shot, so it'll be interesting to see how much they actually squeeze in, to the one book. But definitely be having a look at that one. Next up, we have 9 Stones from Behemoth Comics. This is written, the art and the cover art is by Samuel Spano. And Behemoth Comics have, for me, it can be hit and miss with some of the books that I've read from Behemoth. But I just thought this was a really interesting cover, first and foremost, that drew my attention to it. And definitely the synopsis. I'm not going to read the words, the synopsis word for word. You can go and Google, but this would definitely be a recommendation for one to maybe pick up in digital format and see if you like it. Next up, we have, if I can move this forward, we have The Box issue number 1.
Tom
written
Hardy
by
on the
Joshua.
front.
Exactly, yeah, that's exactly who he looks like. Joshua Starnes as the writer, and the art and cover art is by Raymond Estrada. And this is from Red 5 Comics. You know, we're getting really indie with this one. But this is all run about a guy called Leo Bloom, who is a private detective. And wait for it, his partner is a box. It's a magic box from which he can take whatever he can imagine some of the time. But when he's framed for the kidnapping of a prominent scholar, Leo suspects a plot to take his prized possession from him. Can he find out before the police or the mafia find him? So the fact that a box is this detective's partner.
Do you remember?
It sounds
10,
extremely.
right?
I mean, this just sounds way out there, mate.
Do you guys remember Top 10 from Alan Moore? And there was a character called Toy Box who was like a detective, and her power was she had this white box and stuff came out. Thanks.
See, as you say that though, Ben, whenever I was reading the synopsis of this, it sounded familiar. And what was the book from Matt Kint that we read where they had to pass Suitcase or something? Fear Case. And I kind of
Suitcase is it's another book. It's not that exciting.
But yeah, definitely check out the box. This one you'll probably have to pre-order, I would say, because it's from Red 5 Comics. I don't think your LCS will have this readily on the shelf, to be honest with you.
Definitely not.
Nah, definitely. Last up, before we move on to the wonderful killer covers from Benjamin, is the Menagerie issue number 1. This is from Second Sight Publishing, and this is written by Ramos Govea, and the art and cover art is by David. Listen to this, David Batista. I kid you not. And I was like, this can't be the David Batista. No, it can't. It definitely can't be the Dave Batista.
Because Dave Batista, that's not actually his name, I think.
Is it not?
I don't think so. No.
I was joking. Jesus, Benjamin, move on. Jesus, you're too serious today. So yeah, this is a book that I thought looked pretty cool. The cover art just looks interesting, and it's got robots and lots of guns. Sold. What more do you need? That's the Menagerie issue number 1. So guys, that is my indie picks for next week. Let me know and let us know in the socials if it's ones that you're going to be picking up, or if there's anything that you missed that we think we should be looking at. And hashtag Killer Comic Show.
Kingspawn.
I was going to put Kingspawn, but I thought it'd be too obvious because I'm a Spawn fan, and there's probably like 300.
It's not indie, Tom. It's not indie.
No, I know, but I almost put it as a Killer Key, but I thought Andy would put it in there. It is an indie because Image is indie.
Yeah,
you girls need to communicate between each other, like if you're going to wear the same dress or not on the night out. Like, what are you going to wear? And
how can we communicate when we just send pictures of us flexing to each other? I mean,
apparently it is Dave Batista in real life. There you go. We've all learned something pointless tonight. Speaking of pointless information. It's my bit. Crampton's Killer covers for New Comic Book Day, August 11th, which is, of course, yesterday for you idiots. Right, let's have a look. Come on. Andy, my destiny is... Oh, look at that. Right on theme. It is... Which one is this? Wonder Woman. Issue 777. So this may well actually be my favorite of the Suicide Squad movie variants. Harley there, Waller, and Weasel front and center in this Will Marai variant for Wonder Woman. If we can all just agree that Weasel really might be the best character in the film following that post-credit scene. And heads up as well to Harley. I don't know if she's realised, but she has got some chewing gum on the bottom of her boot. So that's Wonder Woman 777.
Next.
And now we got Joker, issue 6.
I got one of these for the main man.
Nice. You guessed it. It's the Suicide Squad movie variant again by friend of the show, John Boy Mayers. He actually discussed this cover in detail with us on our After Dark show. But basically here we see Capaldi's Thinker, whose head is positively buzzing, to be joined by Harley and her trusty Javelin. And then we got Mongal there as well. I actually love the kind of use of like a yellow outline that he's done on this, making everything kind of pop. Very cool. Very cool cover.
I think it looks really cool in this one as well.
Yeah. Because he was quite kind of self-deprecating about it, wasn't he? It was like, oh, it doesn't look like Peter Capaldi, but I think this is meant.
He wanted him to be the main centerpiece, didn't he?
Yeah.
And
next,
almost like there's a theme going on here. Future State Gotham issue 4. So Ivanov's entry now for the Suicide Squad movie variants with the protect him at all costs, lovable Nanawe, aka King Shark. You got the Australian arsehole Captain Boomerang. And if you thought Luther was cool, then meet Bloodsport. It's unfortunately a cover for Future State Gotham issue 6, which is dumpster fire. But this cover is fire. I'm sure we can all agree on that. It's gorgeous. So those are my covers of the week, gentlemen.
Pew, pew, pew.
Very nice.
I'm going to pass on that Future State 100%. I can't get into that rabbit hole. Sorry.
The thing is, if a cover by is a cover by, but you're still gonna slightly enjoy the story, then at least you've got that. But when it's pure cover by, like literally, the cover doesn't relate to the. I kind of start to think that's dangerous grounds to kind of go in. But guys, we've got about 20 minutes left of this show, and we are cooking on gas and electric, environmentally friendly where we can. And it's time to go through our reviews. So what is the first book that we are going to be looking at, Andrew?
So let me just do this and do that. And our first one up is The Mew You Love in the Dark.
You Love in the Dark. Yes. Well, I mean, I love this, guys. Absolutely loved this story. We've obviously got George Corona there on the main cover. There are a number of different variants that you can see on the screen that my screen's not big enough for me to read out the names of. Oh yeah, the third eye exclusive.
I'll run through them, Ben. I'll run through them. Okay. So we've got the main cover by George Corona, and we've got the Yellow Snow exclusive by Lip Wee Chang. Goodness. And we've got the Comic Kingdom of Comic Kingdom of Canada by Mike Chrome variant, which is actually probably my favorite. I really like this cover. I'm going to say it again. We've got the one, the only Jenny Frison Virgin variant by Third Eye exclusive. Oh my days. And then you've got a very popular 1 in 25 variant by Scotty Young. And last but certainly not least, we've got Megan Hutchinson Kate's variant cover. So I think we can all agree there are some absolute beauties amongst those.
Yep. And, I think that reflects in the story the quality of those variants. This story was fantastic. Like, for me, I think, like the wit of Scotty Young's, like, variant covers, his young covers, as they call them. I think it's actually transferred over perfectly to writing. And I'm kind of only really saying that based on, like, I Hate Fairyland, Strange Academy, and this, for me, has kind of confirmed that opinion. I think it's quite hard to make, like, a self-monologue engaging, like, because ultimately a lot of this book is just her kind of winding herself up and thinking she's sort of talking to herself, and he just does it in a way that's so kind of like interesting and funny, like genuinely kind of humorous in parts as well. I think Corona has a real kind of Scotty Young-ish style anyway. Like I think they kind of sit in that same family of artists. So his work matches up, I think, with the writing very well. Really atmospheric. Yeah, it was like Casper, Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice. Like it had that kind of horror vibe, but like a family fun kind of horror vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I don't think Scotty Young gets enough credit for his storytelling and his ability.
Yeah, I'd agree with
a
that.
really good story. I think you know, when you hear the name Scotty Young, you just think about those cartoon covers, effectively, which probably aren't doing name justice. But I mean, I thought this story was fantastic for a first issue. I'm invested straight away. I thought it played on two really subject matters, which was obviously fear of ghosts and creative block. I think for that, whenever you get that moment of creative block where you just can't think of what you want to do, I think this book is going to sort of explore that and how the fear of ghosts is going to try and improve and make her more creative and be able to obviously make a living that she's doing at the moment. Middle West Guy, was that a book that you guys read at all from Scotty Young?
No,
I have read that one.
That for me was a hard read, just because for me there was just too many characters that were getting juggled about in that book, and I'm hoping that when we go into the next issue of this one that we stick to the basis of maybe one or two characters in this, and that we don't have a huge amount to go through.
I'd love it just to be the two of them, like and
absolutely,
just to explore what could be a love story. Like I honestly see, like I played the Unchained Melody music in my story because that's kind of what it like felt like a little, like it felt like the start of like a weird love story between the two of them.
Did you get Shadow Craft vibes from this one a little bit? I kind of got that a little bit when I was reading it, and even the artwork and stuff.
It'll be interesting how it differentiates from that, because I think it is kind of looming very close to that in terms of some of the variant covers literally look like they could just be a Shadecraft variant.
Yeah,
so,
Shadecraft. Sorry, I said Shadowcraft. Sorry. Tom, what about you? What did you think of this one?
I loved it. I thought it was really good. Like you said, I don't think Scott Young gets enough credit for his writing. I mean, I think Strange Academy was amazing. This is really good, and for me, it was a real kind of hit home thing for me, because I've been in this position where you kind of give up everything to follow your dream of being an artist or, doing whatever it is you want to do. And you just hit creative block and you're like, shit, what do I do now? Like I'm at a point where I can't do anything. I mean, yeah, really, really good. I like the way that he explored that. And I really hope that going forward that the Ghost is going to help her develop that. If not, it could be quite a nice, like you said, like a love story, or it could be quite a nice horror twist where he completely gives her no inspiration whatsoever and just completely fucks it up for her, where she's trying to make this artwork and he's just trashing it. Do you know what I mean? But then it could get to a point where that trashed artwork becomes her next big thing, which is quite cool. There's lots of ways.
Full transparency, Tom. Did you have relations with a ghost?
Me? Have you ever seen my missus?
There you go. You heard it here first, guys. My God. It's like the scene from Ghostbusters 2 when he gets a... right. Okay, killer from me. Tom?
Same killer from me.
Absolute
Andy?
killer.
3 killers all day long. I was going to say the KKK.
No, moving on quickly. Tom, explain.
Explain yourself.
Okay, so I'm
apologize.
a massive Transformer fan. Always have been, always will be. It's had some of the best written stuff for a very long time. Like Simon Furman was an incredible writer. James Roberts was an incredible writer. IDW did some great things. And then this happened. But for me, so I didn't think Transformer writing could get any worse than the one animated TV show where they took Springer and Razor Claw, went back in time, and they went to like medieval time and they saved a princess from a castle. I didn't think it could get any worse than that. And then they did this. Like, I was so excited about reading this because Grimlock's one of my favorite characters. I thought they're going to explore him and where he's been during the the current Transformer run. Where are the Dinobots? What have they been up to? The fact that it's written how he talks annoyed me. And then the whole story just didn't make sense. Where is he? What is he doing? What? This is a complete nutter binner from page 1. It is horrible. It's really badly written. The artwork's a bit too janky for me. I just didn't enjoy it whatsoever. And I massively apologize for making you guys read it. It's not as bad as Bunny Mask, though.
Well, I think we'll let you off. We just need to give a shout out to some of these awesome variants, to be fair. You got Carrie Nord on the main cover, Augustine Padilla on that cover B, and then the incentive variant by Mateus Santaluco. Some really, really cool pieces there. And I think for me, that was probably kind of sums it up. The artwork was very cool. But this was like straight out of like a 90s bargain bin comic. It was like, I felt like it missed a trick as well. Like, you kind of could have had a really cool refresher on who Grimlock is at the beginning. This is because this is the first Grimlock title, right? Like,
it's not his first ever title.
Is it not?
No.
Okay.
I think it's like third or fourth ever title. That's why they called it King Grimlock.
Right, okay.
But
I just felt like, because a lot of people like me, I love Transformers, the cartoons and stuff, and films don't come at me. But I don't read the book, so I was like, right, okay, this is a jumping on point. So, can you treat it like that? And you can't, because it was, the less is more. I say it a lot, and especially with a Grimlock title, because the guy can't bloody talk properly. So if you keep that to a minimum, and if you just focus on the fact there's a bloody dinosaur-shaped robot, and also and it's always one of my biggest bugbear with any Transformers story that I don't like, movies, animated comics, don't put people in it. Like, I don't want to see people. I've got other titles where I can experience the human race. Like, I pick up a Transformers book for Transformers, and this had some next weird religious bit. It was just, it was not a binner.
Oh, guys, where do I start with this one? This put the Grim in comics this week. It was. Did you like that? I'm absolutely 100% with you on this, Ben. That if I'm reading, and it's IDW as well. IDW was arguably my favorite Transformers run, but the mistake that writers seem to do for me is that they introduce human beings into Transformers, and all we want is cool Transformers effectively kicking the shit out of each other. But this book actually made me dislike Grimlock as a character. And yeah, it was just, I think besides it being poor and a poor experience to read, I get that some people might read this and it really, really enjoy it, but it's really interesting to hear what Tom's saying, because I know Tom's such a huge Transformers fan, to dislike this one. So it's almost like I'm disappointed from a comic reading perspective, and Tom's disappointed from a Transformers fan perspective. So for me, this was an absolute winner.
Well, the problem, one of the main problems I have with it is IDW spent so long with the More Than Meets the Eye, then Lost Light, then Transformers alongside that. They did Monstrosity as a series, and they explored Grimlock and the Dinobots not being stupid. And then they reset the universe, and they had a blank slate to start off with him not being stupid and essentially being a giant robotic T-Rex smashing the shit out of other Transformers. Why they had to go back and drop him into this medieval time, and then they ended it with him going toe to toe with a golden Cyclops. What's that all about? Why did you end it like that? So bad. I hated it, every second of it. And yeah, sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, I can confirm we have three binners. So let's try and lift things up with Stillwater now. This Stillwater is the main cover here by Ramon K. Perez. Was there any variants for this, or was it just?
I don't think so, mate.
Right. Okay. So it was just the main cover there. Stillwater issue 9. I forgot my notes for this, so I am going to riff on this one. I'm
Nice.
It's a weird one now, Stillwater, because I feel like I'm so engrossed in the story that it's like I don't really have any criticism in the sense that, you know, the artwork's still what I need it to be and what I've enjoyed for 9 issues or 8 issues before. The writing's exactly the same. Like it's just another episode. You know, it's just another episode of that show I love. That's how I feel at the moment with it. The one thing I would say is a spoiler warning, but I was a bit confused at the end whether the twist is that the kids are aligning themselves with the bad guys to do bad things, or whether the twist is that the bad guys are actually aligning themselves with the kids to do good things.
And that is the interesting conundrum, which will make you pick up issue number 10.
I'm there. I am there. So that's all I have to say on it. I'm gonna drop my killer right there for Andy to catch and tell everyone what he thinks.
Listen, I will happily catch that killer and hold on to it, because this, for me, after a slow last couple of issues, this was the best issue since issue number 1 for me. I think it opened up a whole new world for Stillwater. It's almost like that this for me will be probably the key book in the story, however long this run is going to last. I think if I was sort of considering backing away from this story, this just dragged me straight back in again. There's not much more I can say about the artwork. It's absolutely consistent. The story's consistent. Chip Zdarsky, this is probably one of the best Chip Zdarsky series I've read since Life of Spider-Man. I think this is absolutely great. If you haven't got on this yet, then listen, it's not too late. There's obviously the trade that's out for the first few issues. This is great. This cover in particular was absolutely fantastic, and the fact that there isn't a huge amount of variants that you have to, buy for the completionist in you, just makes it even more sweeter. Tom, what about yourself? What did you think?
I can't disagree with anything that either of you have said. I thought it was a really strong book. It really continued the story well. I liked the whole children thing. I thought that was really cool. And if anything, this book kind of made you really think about what they have to have got, what they've been going through, having to stay in their child bodies and not grow up, and yet not grow stronger, not grow, and then obviously they talk about, you come across the baby. He's been a baby since the start. Like, they've been there for years, like years and years. And this poor baby or person has been a baby the entire time. And like he said, he's kind of just glazed over. He's no longer like even with it. I think that was really sad. And I like they explored that. I think that was really, really, really quite cool. Dark, but cool. I think Chip Zdarsky's doing amazing things. I liked the twist at the end, and I agree with Ben. It gives you that cliffhanger. It's like, which way is it going to go? Is it going to go bad, or is it going good? Are the kids going bad with the bad guys, or the bad guys going good with the kids? It was a bit of a massive conundrum. I really like that. And also, like, they're on the edge of town, aren't they?
Yeah.
So anything that happens in the next episode is permanent.
Exactly. That's what makes it most. Do you remember when Michonne was introduced in Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Do you remember that issue? That was like one of those drop the mic issues for Walking Dead. This was how I felt about Stillwater issue number 9. I just thought love it. Absolutely brilliant. Definitely one of my top picks for this year.
Smashing. Well, I'm glad we're all in agreement for that. Now let's round off the week with the final choice, which is Lucky Devil. And here you can see the main cover by Fran Galen. And again, this is the only cover for this, published by Dark Horse Comics. So I think the artwork kind of the internal artwork was flawless for me. Like, I felt like it was just so full of character, and the detail, which was pretty horrific in parts, but the detail was amazing, and the color and everything was just, I loved the artwork. I think Cullen Bunn kind of really struck that kind of uncomfortably relatable chord for a lot of people, that kind of down in the dumps type character who, hides his real emotions, thus creating a monster. And I think there's lots of kind of parallels and relatability there. My only thing is that it did feel a bit disjointed, I think, at times.
I agree with that.
And I couldn't really tell what. I can't tell you now. I'm quite looking forward to hearing what you guys think, but I couldn't really tell what was real and maybe like what wasn't. And like, I don't know, like, I almost wish it was just like, I kind of don't want it to be real. Like, I almost want it to be like Falling. Have you ever seen Falling Down with Michael Douglas? Where
Yes. That's
like, I almost wanted it to be like that, but like all the fantastical stuff is just in his head, and the external thing is just this man, I don't know, with one weapon or something. I was worried that something that could be kind of symbolic or thought-provoking just kind of turned into another kind of John Constantine book, so I'm really interested to see kind of where issue 2 goes and which kind of path they take, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think. So Tom, you obviously said you agree with me. How did you read into it, that it was all real?
So I felt, like you said, very disjointed. I thought it was a little bit all over the place. I originally thought the same as you. I kind of thought, this demon's in his head. It's not real. He's not actually possessed. It's all in his head. He's basically got to the breaking point. He's snapped and he's lost his shit, and he's just gone around and just completely lost it. And then as the book went on, I was like, oh no, actually, they are going down this route of the fact that he is possessed, and there is a demon, and there is going to be this god demon thing that's got all these abilities and thing. And I'll be honest, that made me not want to carry on. I was like, there's so much other better books out there than this one, and I didn't really want to carry on reading it. So I just think there's so much other good stuff to read. I did like it, but I don't think I'll pick up issue 2. It didn't drag me in enough to pick up issue 2.
Wow.
It just, like I said, I think it was too disjointed. I didn't really get the story I was hoping for, but the artwork was cool. So that was my take on it.
Right, Oracle, what are you saying, Mr. Indy?
I thought this was fantastic, this book. Cullen Bunn is a very, very busy man, a very busy writer, and I love the character of Stanley. He's just a kind of a down on his luck kind of a guy who doesn't have the courage to sort of stand up for himself. And we obviously find him that he is possessed by a demon, and that it's the demon's powers that kind of turn his life around. And I think for me, this story was about how power can change somebody, and how it will actually, I think that's how the next coming issues will be. It's all about power and how it changes someone. And the question that as a reader I'll be asking is, is Stanley the protagonist or is the antagonist? And is he an actual like hero? So is he the hero for the downtrodden, the people that are hard on the luck? Or is he just a murderer? And I guess that's what we'll effectively find out through this story. It reminded me a little bit of like The Mask, when he gets a power and stuff like that. That's where
people don't realize like The Mask did bad shit. Like Stanley just goes and like robs banks and that. Like he's not a good guy.
Absolutely. I definitely got that.
The comics were even more wild. The comics, it was horrific.
Yeah. 100%. For me, there was some really dark sort of humor in this comic as well, which I quite liked. But the absolutely outstanding work from Fran Gallen on art, the depth to this artwork was some of the best that I've seen this year. It was unbelievable. It's one of those ones where you could just, it almost took away from you understanding and getting into the story because of the depth of you just looking at the artwork and enjoying it and taking it in. Because there was lots of things to see. It was almost like you just like planted yourself into the middle of some of the pages because of the way that you'd drawn them. I would highly, highly recommend that you read this story and you maybe read it 2 or 3 times because you'll get different things from it. And I would have to disagree with my lovely fellow panel members. I thought this was very much a joined up story, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what issue 2 brings.
I just think it escalated very quickly. Like it felt like there was no, like it was like one moment he was, biting his tongue, and then, the next moment he was throwing people out of windows and stuff. There wasn't, do you remember that film Wanted, where he hits him with the keyboard? It was like, take your time, hit someone with a keyboard first, and then start like killing people. I don't know, but I'm there. I wouldn't say this is a binner by any stretch of the imagination. I can't say it's a killer, to be honest, but I am there for issue 2, so I'm on the fence for this.
Killer for me.
I'm going to go binner because I'm not going to pick up issue 2.
I don't think I've ever heard like Tom not like a book like that.
No, it's not that. It's not that I didn't like it. It's not that. It's not at all that I didn't like it. I thought it was well written. It just wasn't for me. So for me, it's a binner, and I won't be picking up issue 2. That's it.
But tell me that Grimlock is in a separate bin to this.
Yeah,
because that's a whole other.
Yeah, there's no bin for Grimlock. It was burnt the moment I grabbed it.
Right, gentlemen, we have just passed the 2-hour mark. Thank you very much to any one person that has stayed this long. It's impressive, and we hope that we have entertained you along the way. Before we go, Andy, have you got anything coming up at all, or is it business as usual over on your Instagram?
No, it's absolutely business as usual over on Instagram. You can find me at perpetual.comics. I would just like to take a wee bit of a minute to say thanks to my fellow panelists. Always enjoying a Thursday. I think it's safe to say that we've all had a challenging week, and big shout out to Charlie and all his family. We send all our love to you, and we will see you back as soon as you are ready.
Absolutely. And so, Tom, you alluded to the Free Comic Book Day stuff earlier. Anything else going down?
No, it's a bit like I said, as before. It's Free Comic Book Day on Saturday, so any comic you buy, you get a free Comic Book Day book to go with it. So as many as you buy, you get a comic. There are no duplicates. As long as you don't buy more than 25 books, you won't get a duplicate. You'll get all the different titles that I have. So there will be no duplicates, hopefully. We've got the crates are still going. So if you buy a crate, you will get the 6 comics that go with the crate. You'll get 6 pre-Comic Book Day books, just so you know. Nice. So that's going on as well. Again, buy 5 comics that are on pre-order. You get the 5th one half price. So that's all going. There is a back issue section coming to Not Quite Mint in the next couple of weeks. I'm just sorting out the books are on there. And as Andy can allude to, there are some absolute fire books that will be coming up to notquitemint.com. We're talking old school X-Men. We're calling old school Thor. We're looking like old stuff coming up.
Nice. We old people like old books. It's a fact. Thank you so much, ABZ, for your comments, and Fuzzy Dunlop there as well. You guys are appreciated. Now, in terms of Attention Seeking Geek, I posted a video today which was an AOK from Triple G Comics. It gets really hard to talk when you've been talking for 2 hours. So please do check that out and go and find Triple G and watch his stuff as well. And then Monday nights is my new live show at 8 p.m. BST. It's Not That Bad, the series where I take a look at movies that some people may love and some people may not love. And on Monday, I welcome back Hydra Collectibles. who is bringing to the table Planet of the Apes, the Tim Burton version. Yes, indeed. So that's going to be a really interesting convo. So do join me at 8 p.m. on Monday. And then, of course, the Killer Comics Show, as always, like clockwork, we'll be back next Thursday at 9 p.m. BST, where we continue our road to Thought Bubble. We will spotlight a guest again from Thought Bubble. We will be reviewing comics that came out this week, and there will also be our first of the weekly review for Marvel's What If. So we will take a look at the Peggy Carter episode that aired on Wednesday, and then the episode that is due to air next Wednesday as well. So that'll be part of a weekly series review, if you will. Guys, other than that, sending our love to Charlie, and thank you everyone again for being in the chat, supporting us, supporting the channel. For me, stay geek, stay proud, guys. Take care.
See ya.
See ya.